Hey there. Yes, you. Are you tired of paying for gas? Do you want to buy a used electric car but don't know how to find a good one? Are you wearing women's underwear? You are, aren't you?
No.
Suit yourself.
My creepy epiphany got me thinking about all of us that still pay for gas to go to work or pick up the kids, getting violated at the pump when we could be driving for a fraction of the cost on electricity. But buying an electric car is expensive, right? Well, here's an obvious plug for ecotricity.co.nz, where you can find a buyer's guide for the 32 electric vehicle options available in New Zealand. They have something for every price bracket, including those as small as mine, such as the Nissan Leaf Generation 1, which is by far the most popular electric car on New Zealand's roads. But with so many Nissan Leafs on car dealer lots, how do you actually spot a bargain? Well, let's start with a crash course on the Nissan Leaf itself.
The Nissan Leaf battery was created in 1932 by Sir Reginald...
Yeah, okay, I made all that up. The Nissan Leaf actually started production in 2010 with the Generation 1, and in 2017 the Generation 2 came out. Now both these two generations have different battery packs available. The Nissan Leaf Generation 1 first came out with a 24 kilowatt-hour battery pack in 2010, and then in 2016 came with a 30 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Now this pack unfortunately is still quite expensive, but nowhere near as expensive as the Generation 2 model, which came out in 2017 with a 40 kilowatt-hour pack, and then later this year we will see the same model with a 62 kilowatt-hour pack. But let's stick with the Generation 1, which at the moment is flooding car dealer lots across the country. So what should you look for in a Generation 1 Nissan Leaf? This one is a great example. This is a Generation 1 2011 Nissan Leaf. Car dealers are full of this model and they're going really cheap. This one cost $12,000 because it's full of all the options, but as you know, you can find them cheaper on the internet. The internet is awash with Nissan Leafs, some selling for less than $10,000, but buyer beware, some of the batteries in these Nissan Leafs are well past their use-by date. So how do you determine if the car's battery is actually okay? Well, there are two ways to do it. The first way is really easy. Just look to the right-hand side of the car's battery meter. There you'll see 12 individual bars, each bar representing the state of the battery's health. Over time, as the car's battery degrades, you're going to see each individual bar disappearing. The first bar at the very top, once that's gone, it means the car's battery has lost 15% of its original capacity. Each following bar that disappears after that is about 6.5% of the car's original capacity. But there is a better way to give you more detail into the actual health of the car's battery pack. For that, you're going to need one of these, an OBD2 connector, one of these, a mobile phone, and an application called LeafSpy. The LeafSpy application is free for Android device users and connects via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi to an OBD2 connector. These things are available right now in New Zealand for around about $60, or you can order them from China for much less if you don't mind the wait. They connect to your car via the diagnostic or OBD2 socket located under the dash in the Nissan Leaf. Simply by plugging in the device and connecting it to your phone via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, you can unlock a wealth of secrets about the Nissan Leaf you're thinking of buying. With the free LeafSpy installed, open it up once you're connected to Bluetooth, and there you'll see a whole range of interesting information about the battery pack underneath your car. Now there's a lot of data here, there's a whole lot of stuff at the top of the screen that might be confusing, from battery internal resistance to current draw, but what you're going to be focused on most importantly is state of health, SOH, at the top of the screen. And in this case we can see the car has 74.76% state of health, which is pretty average for a 2011 Nissan Leaf. Don't worry if you're seeing a lot of blue and red bars across the screen. When the bars are showing red, it just means that that particular battery cell is shunting or equalizing the whole pack to keep it healthy. Now what you're going to be looking for, what's more important, is differences in voltage across the entire pack. And as you can see, this particular pack does have a little variation in voltage. There is one cell that is a little bit weaker than the others. But when you look at the chart on the left-hand side, the variation is not actually very big. It's only a tiny difference in the grand scheme of things. So what does 74% state of health actually mean? How many kilometers are you going to get out of a charge with a battery pack in that condition? Am I going to get 132 kilometers of range like the gasometer on the dashboard says? Well, no, but it won't be too far off. Of course, driving style will greatly affect the range you'll get out of a used Nissan Leaf, with this chart offering a handy guide of what to expect with summer driving. And it pays to remember that winter driving can in some instances reduce your electric car's range by as much as 30%, so keep that in mind. So let's say you've found a Nissan Leaf you're thinking of buying. The state of health meets your range requirements, and you can't find any major damage on the car. There is one design flaw in the Nissan Leaf which you should know about. Before buying the Leaf of your dreams, pop the hood and remove the plastic cover in the corner of the windscreen. Unfortunately, this generation of Nissan Leaf has a design flaw where rainwater flows down over the suspension strut towers on each side. So before buying a Leaf, reach in and remove the cap covering the suspension strut towers, and check to see if there's any rust. This one, like most models of its age, has some surface rust which can be remedied by cleaning it out and applying some grease. All that leaves is finding a Leaf that meets your range and language requirements. Now here's a unique to New Zealand Nissan Leaf problem. Most of the Nissan Leafs in New Zealand are used Japanese imports. They do their time in Japan, and when they get to a certain age, they're flicked off and liberated to other countries that also drive on the correct side of the road, like New Zealand. Unfortunately, that means most of the dashboards are all in Japanese, and those with fancy head units, the whole display is in Japanese. But the good side is, it means that just about all of these ones with the fancy displays get a little friend I like to call Tokyo Rose. Hello, how are you today? I'm doing great! Oh, what are the kids up to? Oh, that's wonderful news. Alright, well, all the best. I'll see you tomorrow. So, your options are to either get the thing translated into English, and there are some guys that do that in New Zealand, but you're going to be looking at about $600 to get it translated to an English display. Of course, the easier and much cheaper option is simply to learn Japanese. Watch this. 私の犬は火がついています。Maybe it's my accent. 私の犬。Toyota Toshiba. See? Easy. Let's talk charging. And this generation Nissan Leaf, the first generation, the charger is located here under this plastic box. And what's this thing, you ask, that comes with the car? Isn't that the charger? Nope. This thing is called an EVSE. And its sole job is to provide power to the charger safely. Now, if you've got a car that's come straight off the boat from Japan, and it's got a Nissan charger and a Japanese plug on the end, obviously the plug won't fit in a New Zealand socket. And if you did put a regular New Zealand socket on the end, you'd probably blow a fuse or start a fire or worse, because the Japanese chargers take 15 amps out of the power socket. New Zealand regular sockets can only give 10. So your options are to either put a caravan plug on the end of this and a caravan socket at your house, which could handle up to 32 amps, no worries, but it would cost you about $600, or buy a New Zealand EVSE with a New Zealand plug on it designed for New Zealand homes, which would cost you about $600. If you're still watching this, then you're obviously serious about electric cars. And that's great, because there is really no greater feeling than driving past gas stations knowing you never have to buy their product ever again. No more belts or pulleys or oil changes or filters or spark plugs or exhaust repairs, all that stuff's gone. It's just a liberating feeling. It's an addictive feeling. In fact, it should probably come with a health warning.
Ask your doctor if an electric car is for you. Side effects may include happiness, a smug feeling, and more disposable income.